What's going on, Jeromes? We're back, Daily Jeromes live stream, talking Vikings, talking whatnot, talking draft, talking all the fun things. Thank you very much for coming along, subscribing. So, 11 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday, except tomorrow, we are headed towards to an undisclosed location yet again. So, yeah, so last show of the week. And as we saw last week, whenever we take a day off, things happen. Because last time, Gary Kubiak announced his retirement when we were just away. So, is what it is. But a lot of Q, a lot of A. Thanks for coming along. Let's hop in. So, first up, Goat Kogi. With Stafford leaving the Bears having issues and the Packers having big cap issues, possibly losing Rodgers, NFC North is going to be wide open for a healthy and improved Vikings team attack. Woo! Yes. Abi Asuji. When is the DJ want a breakout game? Well, when is week 1 of the 2021 season? Diego said, thoughts on firing Rick Dennison and acquiring James Campen? Would you think he'll get the best version of our players? I'm not familiar with James Campen, but firing Rick Dennison, I'm in. Tristan Bailey. Realistically, when do you see the Vikings winning the Super Bowl? Early February 2022. Great work. I look forward to the show every day. Hey, thank you. Chris Danny Hansen, can you do a GOAT at every position video, including coaches? Yeah, we could do that deeper in the offseason, probably after the draft. Robert Barweiler, considering you spent time here and would have complete control of the offense, including calling plays, is there any way you think Eric Bieniemy would become our OC and assistant head coach? I know it's technically a lateral move, I don't know if the Chiefs would let him do it because so there's a stratification of jobs. So it's basically a head coach and then all assistants, and teams can block lateral moves. Would the Chiefs let him go? I mean, maybe. He is going out of conference, and I think Andy Reid definitely wants Eric Bieniemy to eventually get a head coaching job. But does he need a gig where he's completely on his own, completely running his own offense? It's a possibility. Plus, let's be honest. If you're taking the Vikings OC job and you're a potential future head coach, you may be a head coach by week 7. It's possible. Abza Abdi. With Stafford and Watson on the trading block, are you worried that teams will show less interest in trading for Cousins? Yeah, probably. And I think the Vikings are perfectly content to run it back with employee number 8. Although, so we just did a video. We talked about Bill Barnwell laying out the top 17 locations, trade destinations for Deshaun Watson. Vikings were 10. It's a lot higher than I expected. It's really kind of funny. Next up is George St. the what in WTF? If Bailey doesn't have that atrocious game in Tampa, Tampa doesn't make the Super Bowl. Well, so if the Vikings get that win, Tampa still makes the playoffs, probably as like the 7 seed. I still think they make that run. George St. Baptiste, could you see moving Cook to a running back needy team for a first and third? Maybe a second, like Mike Boone, Abdullah, Walk, and then draft Etienne, Chuba Hubbard. Give us 3 young, insanely talented backs. Wait, draft Etienne and Hubbard? No. I think that they're ready to rock and roll with Dalvin. I think Dalvin, this is the best spot for Dalvin, team that actually wants to run the ball. And I think that, the Vikings aren't going to admit defeat on the Cook extension, especially after he had a phenomenal season. Probably should have been second team All-Pro. And I don't think a team will give up a first and third for Dalvin. Even though Dalvin is really good, I think that running backs, the days of giving up a first-round pick for a running back that's multiple years into his career, nah. I think that passed with Indianapolis and Trent Richardson. Who's the GM? Oh, Ryan Grigson. Ryan Grigson should never get a GM job, A, because he was a terrible GM, B, because he was the one who ratted out the Patriots and tried to make a big deal of Deflategate, tried to make a mountain out of a molehill. And, of course, it's the Patriots, so the media ran with it. But, yeah, blame Ryan Grigson for all those months of absolute idiocy in sports media coverage. That's why he should never get another job, even though he's with the Browns and doing good things. Zach Ballas. How much did Pat Elflein's presence impact the Jets winning 2 games, missing out on number 1 overall pick, and any fuel the dumbest rivalry in NFL history? I don't know. I didn't look back on how he did those games. Little known perfection. Also want to say my best friend committed to Southern Minnesota State. Going to be a drive from San Antonio to there, but I wanted to ask you if you heard of so Southwest Minnesota State? That's probably it. So the Pride of Marshall, Minnesota. Trey Lance's dad was a star at Southwest Minnesota State. And so I went to Winona State, and we played Southwest all the time. They're the Mustangs, I believe. I think they had a good basketball team for a while. Evan Cascanaway. Oh, I'm getting back into basketball, by the way. I mean, just having some free time in the offseason. When did LeBron go to the Lakers? Like, that's a new thing. Nah. Evan Cascanaway. Imagine how much fun Shaq Barrett and Leonard Williams would be alongside Daniil and Pierce. It would be gross. It would be gross. Cody Kaiser. How would you rate Kirk Cousins' acting ability? I actually think it's pretty decent. So he has experience in like performing. You know, we saw from that singing video. I wouldn't be shocked if he was in like one act play or something in high school. And I think he plays his parts well. As we broke down the Best Buy video, if you look at his Pizza Ranch commercial, he was in this heating and air conditioning commercial when he was still with Washington that had like a Donald Trump lookalike in it, and it was actually pretty good. Like the comedic beats he hits, I feel like he plays the goober straight man really well. I think Cousins, man, it would have to take the Vikings win the Super Bowl, but if Kirk Cousins hosted SNL, it would be hilarious. It would be good. A little on perfection. If we want Lance, I think we need to trade 8 or 9, depending on what the Broncos get for Stafford. Hell, might have to even get above 7, because I wouldn't be shocked if the big 4 quarterbacks are gone by 7, if the Lions stick and pick there. Evo Einik, which safety would you love for the Vikings draft? Richie Grant in the third one time. I do like Richie Grant. He's off to a good start at the Senior Bowl. Let's see here. Who do I like? I like Paris Ford. I like Morig. I like Ardarius. I like both the TCU guys. I like Cisco, Syracuse, Thong Song. I like Caden Stearns. I don't love him. I like Jevon Holland. I basically like all the safeties. Tyler Gillespie is solid as well. I like all the safeties because they all bring a little bit something different to the table. Like some guys are going to be straight up in the box, strong safeties, glorified outside linebackers. Some guys can be split safeties. Some guys can be single high. Some guys can be operating in the slot, which makes a lot of sense too. So I mean, it's a wide open class, and I do want the Vikings to take, since they do have 2/3 and will have 4/4 after comp picks. I want them to take 2 safeties in the middle of the draft. I do. Abdi, if we didn't trade for Bradford, who would you have picked in the 2016 draft? Probably Dalvin. But we've broken down before that if Taylor Heineke had been healthy, I don't think that they trade for. No, 2017 draft. I don't think that they trade for Bradford. I think they roll with Heineke. Maybe they go 6 and 10, and they end up with the number 10 overall pick, and then they take Patrick Mahomes. So they took Derek Barnett, who, see, in the spot with the Vikings have been looking for quarterback. Possibly, maybe they maneuver up for Deshaun. That would have been interesting. They probably just take Jonathan Allen. That'd be a good pick, though. Or Garrett Bowles. What would the Vikings need in 2017? So Dalvin, defensive tackle, Elfline. So maybe they go offensive line. Maybe they'll go Bowles. Yeah, because no, that was after the Riley Reef. That was before. That really doesn't matter. They'll probably still pick Dalvin. Let's be honest here. Next up. Assuming the Vikings stick and pick at 14, who would you be disappointed if the Vikings took? Basically, anyone not named Kyle Trask, I'm fine with. If they took Mac Jones at 14, like, I would get it. I wouldn't be thrilled because Mac Jones is probably 2 years away from contributing, given Kirk Cousins' situation. So you're taking a guy that's going to be sitting, and you have significant needs on the D-line and offensive line, and just chilling. Yeah. Hey, let us know you're watching him. We'll give a couple shout-outs. Colin Andrist, am I the only one who thinks Romo will be a great head coach? He knows what's coming and how to scheme for things. His announcing job is good. I would doubt he would leave it. I don't know about head coach. I feel like he's a little bit too relaxed and laissez-faire. And, like, obviously he could relate to players, but I'm worried that he would be too much of a player's coach where, yeah, he just lets the players just sort of run the team. He can't really impose discipline. I mean, Tony Romo, he's going to demand discipline from his players when he was a guy that would take off to Cabo with Jessica Simpson whenever the Cowboys had a bye week. So probably not. Pulford Skull. That said, I think he's got a very cushy job. Like, he gets paid more than most NFL head coaches at CBS. Actually, almost all head coaches except for probably Belichick and Pete. Pulford Skull. Hunter stays and other cap is cleared. And you have the following options to add with who'd you take. Leonard Williams, Clowney, Houston, Everson, Leonard. Yeah. Houston, meh. Clowney, no. Everson. He'd have to clear some things up with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' ass. Thank you. It's funny. A couple shout-outs. Ben Schlittler, New London. What's going on? Chad Woyan, Kearney, Nebraska. I think Kearney was a stop on the Oregon Trail video game. It's funny. Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Jacob Meggett, Oakdale, Minnesota. Nick Kuza, Skull from where No Pants for Trey Lance play college ball. Fargo representing. Preacher Paul, hauling it for All State Regis, Montana. Mike Benham, Skull from Grand Rapids. What's going on? You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Next up is Sean Sebastian. Would you be mad if the Vikings selected J.C. Horn with the 14th overall pick? I think he's better than Farley. I wouldn't be too upset. I don't think that Horn is better than Farley, but I think they are very similar trait-wise. But, I mean, J.C. Horn is good, man. And even though Vikings fans would flip a tit if it is cornerback in the first round, Zimmer always grabs quarterback. Imagine Cameron Dantzler with his length and J.C. Horn with his length, and then you got Gladney in the slot. And then you got Harrison Hand just chilling behind them. That's good. That is a good setup for cornerback. Pulford Skull. Patriots trade for Wentz. Stafford to the Colts. Watson to Miami. Teddy to the Bears. Nah. Anthony Stewart. What are the chances we bring Patterson back? Probably low. Yeah, I think that he still has something in the tank, but I think he's relatively aged out. Plus, even though... So, here's a dirty little secret. So, the Vikings had mild interest of re-signing Cordero after his rookie deal expired. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option. And Cordero went on this media blitz of, hey, Vikings fans, I want to resign here and shit. I want to resign and stuff. I want to resign all this stuff, putting it on social media. He was so pissed off from his fifth-year option not being picked up, he was never going to re-sign with the Vikings. But he played off to the fans like the Vikings were the one being the jerks. And this happens a lot. This does happen a lot where the players on the way out just really twist the court of public opinion against the team is what it is. Royal Awesome 519. Who is your favorite Viking of all time? Randy Moss. By the way, we need to get like the Randy Moss Super Freak Jordans up in here. Like, that is my goal. And they're tough to find, man. Well, they're tough to find relatively cheap. But, you get what you pay for. I'm not really interested in buying used ones. I'm sort of size whatever because I'm not going to wear them. So, nah. Who's your favorite and thoughts? Vikings trading up for Fields or Lance in the draft? Lance, yes. Fields, probably that would be up a little bit too high. I think they need to address the quarterback situation for the future badly. I agree. Spartus JX, theoretically, let's say Cousins gets traded and the Vikings are able to draft a guy like Trey Lance. Do you think it is a good idea to sign a veteran quarterback free agency to sit behind Lance for a year? Fitz magic. Let's go. If so, who would be a good choice? Fitz magic. Miles or Tyrod. I've always liked Tyrod. If Kyle Pitts is at 14, do you take him as a BPA and cut Rudolph? I cut Rudolph way before that. And then also, yes. Pitts, Irv, Gronklin. Also, what are your thoughts on Pat Freiermuth? If Pitts wasn't in this class, I think Freiermuth would be getting a lot more hype because he's a solid inline blocker. Frankly, I think he's a better all-around tight end than Kyle Pitts, who is basically just a large wide receiver. But Freiermuth, he's got size, he's got high pointing ability, he's got good hands, he's got a good catch radius. I think he certainly could be an asset. And I don't know, maybe he's down because Penn State was a dumpster fire this year, but Yeah. MIT 03. Who is your Vikings breakout player of the year prediction for next year? Justin Jefferson breaks out even further, becomes the best wide receiver in the league. Woo. But breakout, I want to say James Lynch, except there's no guarantee that they'll play him. I'd say probably DJ Wanham. Or maybe even Cam Dantzler. Or Dantzler, really up and down at the beginning, then was really elite in the middle. Abdi, do we have our next Xavier Rhodes and Cam Dantzler? I think Cam has a chance to be better than Xavier Rhodes. I think he does. Where Rhodes' injuries really piled up, and you could tell that he was losing a step. He got it back in Indianapolis for spurts. But, I mean, with Dantzler, you do worry about health issues, especially since he missed time 3 separate times with injuries his rookie year. But I think given his agility, given his length, I think that he certainly could potentially even be a better version than Xavier Rhodes. Miles, will Irv have a bigger role in the offense next year? I think he'll have to, and hopefully he'll stay healthy. Hopefully those hamstrings stay intact. Sam Heckel, what do you think the chances are the Vikings trade down the first round? I think it's pretty high, but also you do need a team to come up. So if the Vikings are at 14 and they have like a dozen players that they like, and they're like, all right, so let's trade down, a team has to trade up. And a team sitting in the 20s may see the board exactly the same way as the Vikings. Like, hey, we like Pay, we like Darisaw, we like Slater if he's there, we like J.C. Horn, we like Tevin Jenkins, we like a dozen of these guys. So we're not going to trade up just to trade up, right? We're happy with whoever falls. Game of Jones, you wear a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu shirts. Do you train BJJ? And also how long and favorite movie? So yeah, we trained for about. So we trained in college a little bit, and then we got back in the game about 2 years ago, and then the Rona happened. So it's unfortunate. So for like the past 10 months, we've been sort of out of commission, but our school is gonna start reopening soon. So I'm looking forward to getting back in the game. And mainly, I want to do it because I wanted my son to get in the game as well, and daughter if she wants to get into it. So yeah, I mean it is a lot of fun. The class is certainly not. It's not as hardcore as it is like a straight up like old school dojo. Like we wear the gis. It's not a no gi, open mat type thing. So I think I am learning a lot, or did learn a lot. Hopefully get back into it. Favorite move. Oh, I thought you were asking favorite movie. I always like the Americana. No, we like the Kimura. Yeah, I like the Kimura because so I like being in guard because I feel like I'm in control. It's always kind of nice. So from there, and then just pulling that because the Kimura, it's one where you could easily find yourself in a real world situation where you're on the ground, the other guy's on top of you, but you're able to get in guard and you're able to manipulate one of his arms and really pop that shoulder. And plus, it feels like it looks like a very technical move, even though it is relatively simple. So, and also it's one of the first moves that you're taught. So it is good. And of course, everyone's gonna say rear naked choke. Everyone's gonna say, the triangle. It's funny. I accidentally got an Ezekiel choke, like one of my first classes. I had no idea what I was doing, which generally people don't at the beginning. So I just grabbed the. So I was on the bottom. I was actually mounted, and I just grabbed the collar, and then I got a tap. I was like, "What'd I do? Oh, that's a Ezekiel choke. Okay, check, cool." Wallen, $5 in super chat. Did you see what Dion was saying about Kirk Cousins and Jefferson? That made me sick. Shake my head. We know Kirk can't touch any defense. Would torch any defense Dion play? I didn't see it. It seems like something that we should talk about, though. Next up, and it would be surprising given Dion's connection with Zimmer. Or maybe he's relaying a message from Zimmer through Dion. That'd be funny. MITR3, what's the Vikings' least needed position right now? Probably running back. I guess it'd be running back, linebacker if Barr is back. And I guess you could say corner, but corner is always going to be a need, Westworld, pair Ezra and Ben Cleveland and create the Cleveland Wall. Who says no? I mean, Ben Cleveland, man, like 360 pounds if he's an ounce. Like, he is definitely not a scheme fit, but I do not care. Man, he looks good. But I think Cleveland has to play right guard so he can move Ezra to left guard. Cleveland. I'm okay with that. Mason Z. We should trade down from the 14th pick up a 2 and then draft Barrymore or Jevon Holland since the defense interior was trash and Harris is leaving. If we resign to Fadi, he and DJ will manage enough we can stop the run. I do really like Christian Barrymore. I do. I do like Holland. Miles. Will Gladney and Dantzler be locked down next year? Yeesh. Ezekiel Lockhart, number 1. I firmly believe that Chicago Bears wear the ugliest jerseys in sports. What? The ones uglier than the European ad jerseys? I don't know, man. Also, I do like the Manchester United Chevy jerseys. That's really funny to me. Number 2. Last year at the end of winter, I dislocated my foot and shredded my ankle. Bones came through the skin. Any injury you ever, like, worst injury I've ever had? So luckily, knock on wood, like, I've never broken a bone, never done anything like that. I did tear my ACL while I was a freshman in high school, but got that fixed arthroscopically. But other than that, nothing really big. Like, so I was in a car accident like 2017, and did I slip a disc or what was it? It was something with the neck, so that took a while to get back into the game, but it's fine. Yeah, previously had neck issues and then really into jiu-jitsu, so that's just great. Great combination. Landon Miller. It's like a guy who has back issues playing golf all the time. Landon Miller, opinion on linemen with long hair mullets. I'm going for the Nick Mangold, Hercules Mount Alpha look next year. Yes, I think it's a great look. Do you ever struggle gaining weight? I'm 6'2". Conference international 250. I've never struggled with gaining weight. But I don't know. If you're looking to pack on weight, I guess the best way to go is just the way the offensive lineman goes. Like, look up Ben Barsh. Look up Brian O'Neill's diet, 6,000 calories a day. Generally, try and keep it clean calories. Really load up on carbs. Really load up on protein. Lift as heavy as possible. So that and do compound lifts. Like, do cleans, do deadlifts, do squats, do bench. Yeah, do compound exercises, lift heavy, low reps, and just eat as much as possible. And sometimes that might have to be 6 meals a day. You might have to wake up in the middle of the night and down a protein shake like Ben Barsh did. And there's ways to do it. But don't have it be a green light where you just eat pizzas all day, because there's a big difference between a clean bulk and a dirty bulk, especially the way that you're going to feel going about it. So, yeah. But caveat, I'm not a nutritionist. So, go to a better outlet than myself. Kevin Ace. We should trade Kirk and 2 4th-round picks to the Niners first, and then trade our 2 firsts and a 5th and a first the Jaguars. But that has a lot of moving parts, but I'm in. MJ the GOAT. I like Cheered. Miles. Will Zimmer try anything different next year? No. No, I don't think he will. Westworld, thoughts on the GameStop market squeeze? I haven't done a lot of reading on that, but it is really interesting how it's the GameStop share price is being manipulated. It's actually been pulled from trading a couple times. Now, I used to be really into day trading, but now I'm just more of a buy and hold guy, so I'm not really keeping up on like the day-to-day stuff. Like, there's so much stress in like keeping tabs on price and market manipulation and putting in stops and all that stuff. So, and putting in shorts. So, nah. But it is kind of funny how it can be just manipulated, because there's gonna be a lot of money made from that. Hunter Williams. Hey, Skull from Savage. Keep up the good work. Do you think Garrett Bradbury is a bad center? No. I do not. I think he's one of the better run blocking centers in the league. I think that he eventually is going to get his house in order. I think that he's going to add some weight. That ass is going to be better in one-on-one spots. And also, if you flank him with 2 good guards, I think all of a sudden, oh, wow. Oh, look, he's a top 7. He's a top 5 center in this league. Crazy how that happens. I ain't ready to give up on the Grim Reacher. Abza Abdi. Daniel Jeremiah for GM22. No offense, Rick, but Danny, I think I wouldn't wait till March to kick some guys at the curb so we can clear some cap space for free agency. I've been a big Daniel Jeremiah advocate, and more than any other candidate, like, since he's been in media so long, like, His podcast with Bucky Brooks is really, really good. It gets you an insight of how he thinks about things, how he breaks things down. He has a decade of scouting experience, so he's not coming in as a neophyte, a la Mike Mayock. So yeah, I think Daniel Jeremiah should be considered for a GM job. Like him, Louis Riddick, since they do have experience before, yes. DG, do you think The Rock will or has a better chance of success with the XFL than McMahon did? Yes, absolutely. And I think the XFL, if COVID hadn't hit, the XFL 2 would have been successful. But I think that since The Rock is so market savvy and is so good at social media, I think that the marketing team that has helped prop up The Rock will do wonders with the XFL. And I always thought that the XFL 2 had a really good chance because of the internet and social media. The XFL 1 failed because people didn't watch TNN, right? But now you can watch all these crazy clips. You can on socials, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and it's all very shareable. And football is still king. And I think that The Rock will do an amazing job here. Plus, he should suit up. That's a you being the you. Jason Plummer, we should get Scotty Miller for wide receiver 3. He's under contract for one more year, but look into the draft, find your own Scotty Miller. I'm in. Chris Danny Hansen, how many trick plays will the Chiefs do in the Super Bowl? 6. Miles, what changes do you think Clint will make to the offense if promoted? I think that he will throw it more, probably against the wishes of Zimmer, but the fact that he does have some work as a wide receivers coach, I believe at Kansas he had a year of wide receivers coaching. So I think he understands and will commiserate with the plight of a Justin Jefferson, of a Thielen, of wide receiver 3 TBD. Plus, obviously, he's worked with Kirk. He's just like, let's just sling it. Let's just throw it a little bit more. Miles, oh, I read that one. Colin Ireland, hey, bud. School from Orlando. What are the chances we go after Matthew Wright, kicker from Central Florida? Played one game for Pittsburgh last year. Also, maybe before thinking hire Bieniemy as assistant coach. Ready to go. Let's go. I'm really warming up to the idea of Bieniemy as bring him in as like a top flight offense coordinator. But I don't know if Zimmer would sign off on that and be like, oh, I'm hiring my own replacement. But I have not done any work on the kickers. So I'm sure that he's good. Is he better than Destroying, fellow Central Florida kicker? I don't know. Athena Smith, what's your opinion of BB? It seems like most people don't like him, but he seems like he's really clutch. I think that he's good for 1 third down conversion per game, but you do wonder about the health. He's going to be a restricted free agent, so are you going to pay $3 million for Chad BB? I don't know. Darrell Smith, do you watch the Minnesota Wild? No. I really want to get into hockey. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't know why I said that. I don't. But being at a hockey game in person, like, it is night and day. Like, the difference between that and watching it on TV, like, in game, like, it's really exciting, man. Like, you can't get up and, like, go get a beer during the period because anything can happen. And there's constant action. It's a lot of fun. Jans Harold Claudius, what happened to Josh Klein? Chilling on the couch, just like us all. Chris Danny Hansen, Ed Reed, or Troy Polamalu? Ed Reed. Ira Coffin, sign in Ndamukong Suh. I wouldn't be against it. DG, is Conor McGregor overrated? I think that he might be overhyped, but overrated, no. I think that he is still, pound for pound, one of the best fighters of all time. But you saw as he got older that since he had other business ventures, since he's got his whiskey, since he's got all these other accolades and revenue streams coming in, that he's not the same hungry fighter that he was when he was coming up. Like the fights that led up to the Aldo fight, like you could tell that he was absolutely hungry and starving, putting in that work. And no, trust me, he still puts in the work now. But there's a difference. I mean, there's a difference between being the champ and being a threat to the champ or a contender for the champ. Because once you get to the top, like that is the biggest test of someone's greatness. Like, can you still stay motivated and hungry when you are the champion? Or in McGregor's case, when he was the champ. But I think eventually it did start to slide. Frankly, I think he lost the second Nick Diaz fight when it went to the judges. Okay. But Diaz-McGregor 3 would be a big draw. I think Poirier, McGregor 3 would be a big draw. Khabib, I think if Conor had beaten Dustin for the second time, then I think Khabib might have come out of retirement to fight McGregor, number 2. But yeah, I think the wind really went out of the sails after the Khabib fight because I mean Conor was just overmatched. He was just completely overmatched, and yeah, Conor's ground game. Conor's ground game when he was coming up was decent, but then once he got to the UFC, because like when he was in Cage Wars, like he had a couple of submissions victories, but when he got to the UFC, it was all about stand up. It was all about bouncing back and forth, that left hand cock, the left hand of God, and then he just became a knockout artist. And you saw that like in the Chad Mendes fight, where when Chad was able to get things to the ground, obviously Chad being this all-world wrestler, like Conor was struggling. Like Conor was taking some shots, and then eventually, Chad got a little bit gassed. But of course, Chad had to take that fight on what 2 weeks notice or something like that when Aldo dropped out with that rib. But yeah, and then eventually Conor just took it to him on the feet. But then you saw with Poirier, Conor just got dismantled. And taking out the Cowboy fight, where I love Cowboy, but he's like a 500 fighter for a reason. Like he was going to be overmatched by McGregor. I think that was a good way to get a big name, that Cowboy, a big respected name, in as sort of a tune-up match for McGregor as he tried to get back into the Derby. But I don't know. Now, if McGregor has a boxing match with Manny Pacquiao at this stage, I think it would be a lot closer, but nah. Gerald Smith, pizza or sushi, and what kind? Both. Pizza. I just really like a really good New York style thin crust, or if you get an Italian one, where super hot brick oven, if you can go for it, charred crust. Really simply dressed, like really nice fresh tomatoes and basil and mozzarella. Was that mozzarella? That's the way to go. And sushi. I'm really partial to eel. Yeah, I'm really partial to eel, and so I'm not gonna lie, like the really ugly American, like the California roll or the spicy tuna roll, or like the what's a fried shrimp. Like the fried shrimp roll, wherever they call it. I mean, those are all good too, man. Right. So I understand like that style of sushi is like the bastardized version, and like the real true blue Japanese style is like you get something that's barely moving, it's already seasoned. Don't you dare soak that thing in soy sauce. Stop using ginger as a condiment. I get it, but I mean, ugly American, it's like American pizza. It's like Taco Bell. Yeah. Sting of Flow. Are Vikings going to the Super Bowl? Yes. They got tickets. Man. But that's it. That's the Daily Jeromes live stream for the day. And like we said, tomorrow we're taking the day off. We're headed to undisclosed location. So all hell is going to break loose. Thanks for coming along on the journey. Subscribe for Daily Vikings Takes. We got a lot of good stuff coming out today. You guys are the best. Skull. Production value.